Hi, everybody. It is Michael White.
And it's Anthony Orphetis, and welcome to tonight's episode. Juicy one. Always a juicy.
Yeah, I know that you guys are looking forward to this one because, again, it happens to a lot of people, and we put it in the bio. Like, this bio was a lot longer than usual. And again, before we get started, we always like to give credit to the content creator for being able to have these videos for us to share. So we greatly appreciate the content creator for doing this. And we're going to share a video shortly. But before we share the video, we want to actually talk to you guys. I'm going to let Anthea share her story, and then I'm going to share my story, and then we're going to go into the video. So, Anthea, you can start. The floor is yours. You can talk about what your experience was like being led on with words.
Well, it happened actually twice within a year. So I've now kind of feel like with awareness and what we do here, I've really understood what to look out for. And I think experiencing that is it's one of the most difficult things to get your head around, because when somebody gives you words and they paint this picture for you and you're drawn into this amazing like vision of what they're speaking about and what you end up talking about together, you attach yourself to this to the dream of what's being said. Now, what I realized in between that, or what Michael helped me realize, shall I say, as well, and through obviously the podcast, is it was I was getting very emotionally involved in the sense of attaching myself to what this vision looked like, and it was getting really exciting, and in my head it was just like, this is so cool, but the actions of the person were completely opposite
So the
to what.
reality was different than the fiction.
Yeah, so the reality, so their words and their actions weren't matching up. Now, to start with, it starts off excuses coming my way, and then I started to realize that they are just excuses. And then, as we've said on the podcast before, if somebody really does want to be with you and get to know you, they will be in contact. The excuses are not there. Yes, an excuse happens every so often because it's not really an excuse. It's actually something that happened. But still, even if something's happened, I always say you can still send a text message, because you don't even have to text a text message. You can speak to your phone and it does it for you. So there's nothing really to do. So it's not like it's impossible. It's the most possible thing on the planet. It doesn't matter whether you're falling asleep, whether you're about to drive, you can pull over if you're driving. It doesn't matter what's happening. You can always let somebody know if you're interested in them. And if you're not interested, then that's where it's going to be. That's where this picture's being painted, and you can actually break down and understand what is happening, and that you're being what's the word, Michael? You're being
Led
led
on.
on. Yeah, you're being led on. So for me, it's not a good feeling. I mean, it's not ever going to be a good feeling, somebody leading you on. And in my experience, it was on my side quite a big thing, because it meant changing my whole life as such. So I had fitted my life into this vision that wasn't actually planning on being fulfilled by the other person. So they thought, so in their head, maybe, I don't know because I'm not them, but what it seemed was, it all seemed so cool to talk about it, and it was a really nice vision, and speaking about it felt good. But when it came down to the crunch, and for it to actually play out into reality, that's when it was a whole breakdown. So really, I was just being led on by words and a vision. And had I known what those signs were from the beginning, and been able to recognize them from the beginning, I wouldn't have had to gone through that experience. But because I wasn't aware of yeah, it's like you're in denial. You don't want to believe that, because you're speaking to the person and it all seems so real. You don't want to think that they're just leading you on. That's not what you start talking to someone and getting to know someone for. It's not, it's not your intention in that sense. So you're not, see, it's a big denial to say, oh, this is what's actually happening. And it took a while for me to really take it on board and then actually turn around and say, well, you know what? I need to let this go because I don't need an explanation anymore. It's not even worth it because it's just going to be excuses and lies. And that's not what I need to hear. I just need to be able to take on board that I've been led on and be done with it. But there's a lot of people that can't just let it go like that. I'm quite good. I mean, it might take me a couple of weeks, let's say, but it doesn't drag too long. And maybe because I understand things at a different level in myself. I don't know, but this is one thing that I wouldn't want anyone else to go through. I would much rather people didn't have to go through that. So if you're hearing somebody who you're getting to know or you're in a relationship with and they are speaking all these words and creating these visions, please look out for the actions. Really tally the action with the words. And if they're completely out of alignment and they keep being out of alignment and they're not showing up how they are saying to you that they will be showing up. Do you know what? I want to tell a red flag through this, Michael. It's when someone says, I don't want to do this to you and I don't want to hurt you, I don't want to upset you, you're the last person I want to do that to. Take notice of those words, because what they're saying is what's in their head already. They're actually telling you, I don't want to do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm doing it. Why would you express what you don't want within getting to know someone? You need to express what you do want. And that was one of the triggers that caught me when I started hearing, I don't want to hurt you, I'm not that type of person to do that, I don't want this and I don't want that. And I was like, why would somebody be telling me what they don't want? It doesn't even make sense.
I'm going to say to some degree it is important to say what you don't want in the context of what you're not willing to allow in a relationship.
Yeah, but when someone's saying to you, I don't want to hurt you, and they're actually putting something that you haven't said nothing about, there's nothing to hurt me on, or
No, but it's like, for
they're just
example,
coming
let's say,
they're coming out of it. It just
yeah,
generally coming out and saying these things for what reason? There's no reason to say it.
no, but like, let's say, for example, you'll say, well, I don't date cheaters. It's totally fine for you to voice
Yeah,
that.
that's different.
That's
Yeah, that's different.
totally fine for you to voice that. No, again, thank you for sharing your story. And I think what a lot of people need to understand, especially women, this does apply to men, but especially women, is because a lot of times with what you said, you see the logic was there, but your feelings overrid it. You're like, oh, give them another chance.
Yes.
That and they wouldn't do this to me. You kept
Yeah.
looking through the feeling emotional lens
Yeah.
instead of taking off the emotional ones and say, hey, wait a minute, I need to put on a different pair of glasses. I need to look at this logically and look at the facts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wasn't connected. Like you just said, it was very much like um that I didn't want to believe that that person would do that. And
Yeah.
why me? Like, what did
Well, I
what
would say
reason did this person have to come along and start making up this vision and this story? And I get drawn into it and then have actually had no intention of fulfilling that. It didn't make sense to me. So that's what kept on questioning over and over. Why would anyone want to do that? What's the reason behind that?
well, I love that you
Um,
said that though, because with women, I've always noticed it's emotions versus reality, and then they
yes,
clash. And then
yes.
at some point, because again, women always their realities, their emotions dictate reality. So what happens is you have your emotions, you have reality. The truth will be looking them in the face that this guy is leading you on with words, but because of their emotions and how the guy makes them feel and what they've
Mm.
attached themselves to, like their words and all that other stuff,
And the
they're like
vision.
they're like, I don't really care what reality says that this guy's leading me on. How he makes me feel
Mm,
is more important, and then they clash. So
mm.
then that way they're always struggling to say, should I stay? Should I go? Should I leave? Because they're struggling because the reality is telling them one thing, emotions are telling them another.
And another thing that keeps you're so on point there. And another thing is that I was thinking, well, if I just give him another chance, then I could hear what the explanation is, and then thinking that I'm going to get like I'm going to get real talk from him, but
Mm.
I wasn't. I was giving him the chance, but then when it was coming down to it, it was just excuses again. So I was what technically it's wasting my time and wasting his own time. You know,
Well, it's fear of missing out because at the same time, you know you should leave, but at the same time, your emotions are telling you, I don't want to miss the boat. Because
yeah. So
what
let me
happens if he
see.
does tell me like a good excuse? What
Yeah,
happens if it is
exactly.
real? And I don't want to
What happened?
leave before that opportunity. Because what happens if you say, well, I'm not dealing with this and you just leave?
Yeah.
And then there's that fear of missing out because you're like, well, what if it's true or blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, yeah. What if it's true? And that is such, you know what? It's such a good point just brought up, because that's what keeps people being led on, because they're waiting. They think that at some point it's going to become real, and it's not.
Mhm. It's
It's
not.
just not.
It's going
And
to be
I'm not being, like a damper on things. I'm not being negative. I'm not trying to say, oh, because I experienced it, I'm bitter
we're
about
being
it.
honest
No,
with you
I'm
guys,
being
right?
honest.
Like
Yeah, I'm being
we're
as
not
honest.
lying to you. We're telling you the truth. What you decide to do with it is up to you. Before we continue, guys, please, there's 3 of you in here. Like, share, and subscribe for the video. But we're just here to tell you to be more weary. Words are nice and sweet, but at some point there needs to be delivery. So we're gonna get into the video. We're gonna listen to this guy break it down. And it's a great video, by the way, because again, a lot of people, when they get led on, it messes them up for months,
Mm.
years. They can't wrap their head around why this has happened to them. They think they're the problem. Like they go through this whole phase
And what did I do wrong is a big
of
thing, isn't it?
exactly what did I do wrong? Why did this happen to me? Like whole 9 yards. So what I want to do is break down this video. We're going to listen diligently and then we are going to break it down. There's 5 of you in here, guys. Please like, share, subscribe the video. Help us grow our channel. You know what I mean? As you said, we have a clips channel. We have everything. Like us on Facebook. Do whatever you can to support the content. So we're gonna watch this video, just to say, and then we're gonna break it down.
Before you play that video, can I just say it's amazing how we go into a victim mentality, because that's what it is. Why me? Why would this happen to me? And actually, it's because we allow it to happen, because we're not looking out for, we're not recognizing, we're actually um, putting our blinkers on. We're just blanking it out because we don't want to believe it. Because why would a random person that you're getting to know want to just paint this picture? But actually, it's for us to listen to things like this and listen to things of alike, so you can get an understanding and awareness. So if it is happening, you're not going to be dragged by it, and you don't have that mentality of why me, because at the end of the day, the why me is going to keep you in a pretty negative place. But if you can say, well, it was me because I allowed it, because I ignored the signs, then actually it makes you feel better, and you know that you can look out for that. And if that is presented to you, then you can make the right move, so you don't have to go through that process for too long.
Agreed. So we're gonna let him speak on it, and he's actually gonna answer a question that Anthea said. Why do people do this? And we're gonna break down that why.
Sometimes you might be confused, like, why did this person do all these things for me? Why did they say all these things if they just didn't really want me in the first place? Why would they put in all the work? And this is what I want people to understand. Some people don't necessarily want commitment. They just like the idea of romance. They like the idea of getting someone to fall in love with them, acquiring that attention, just setting it aside and then going for something new and keeping this person as an option. People out there like that. And whether you want to call that selfish or manipulative, whatever it might be, there are people that genuinely operate like this. just to acquire that attention, just to be very romantic and to just do over. Some people feed off that energy. So you must understand, if someone is putting in all this work and they just abandon you, they drop you, they may be someone that's just very interested in just acquiring romance and just, in this high fixation and this high volatility mindset of acquiring love and then letting it go. Sometimes you might be confused, like, why does this person do all these things for me?
It was a short video. We're going to break it down right now. I hope you guys heard what he said. Some people just want romance, but they don't want commitment. What they're looking for is just the idea of the romance, the idea of the relationship, the idea of trips, travel, the idea of cuddling, the idea of intimacy, the idea of dinner dates and flowers and whatever, because this happens to both guys and girls. We're not discriminating here. But the thing is, as he says, when it comes time to commit, they are nowhere to be found, because what they do is they have you there for all this attention.
Because
So
it feels good.
yeah, it feels good. And then what they do is they put it to the side. So that's what they do. They put it to the side. And then when they need attention, they need energy, they want all these things, they put you back into play again.
And that's a them problem. It's not, I want to just put that, it's not a you problem. If someone's doing that, then you can't put that on yourself and then question yourself to why they do. That's who they are. That's what they're about. And that's what they do. That's what they feed from. So if that's what they do, then that's why I think if we can be aware of that, and there's characters out in the world that are like that, and you happen to come across one like that, can't blame yourself for somebody's ways and somebody's doing. That's their choice. That's how they don't even, I don't think they consciously even know they're doing it. I think they just feel like it's such a good thing for them, and it's all this big fantasy in their mind of how good it could be, and then you're in that and you're drawn into that, and then but for them, as soon as it comes to the commitment, it's like
I will say
gone.
something different. It is your fault if you allow it to continue.
Yeah,
I will
absolutely.
say that, for if you
Yeah,
allow that type of, if you know what it is and you allow it to continue, it's your fault.
yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
the
It's not your
second
fault
part,
that they're doing that.
yeah. Now, the second point that you brought up, they do know that they're doing it because they know that they don't want to commit to you. They're very aware that they don't want to commit to you, but they just like the idea of having somebody that likes them.
Feels
That's what
good,
they
huh?
are fascinated with. They are fascinated with the idea that this person likes me. They want to be around me. They like my attention. They like my energy, whatever the excuses are. And at the end of the day, and they definitely know, they're not giving you commitment. And we've talked about this. Those type of people are emotional leeches. That's what they do. It's just in a relationship context.
Yeah, you really got to be aware of it as well. Like that's why I say, really look at people's actions and see if they're turning up. If they're painting a picture and they're saying to you, "Oh, I want to take you out on a nice romantic dinner, candlelit, and then I'm going to book us, a hotel. It's 5-star, and we're going to have breakfast in bed, and da, da, da," and they're talking about this, then make sure it happens. Because if it's not happening and they've got an excuse, then they are leading you on with their words and the vision. Okay, so take note, really match and align, see if it's aligning. Is their words matching their actions? And if it's not, don't make up excuses. Oh, it was because they had to work late. Oh, they had this meeting going on, or this happened, or that happened. That can happen once, but if it's happening again, they say, I'm going to take you the next week, and it happens again, then that's it. That's the second chance, done and dusted. You then, after that point, it's down to you to put yourself through it and like Michael said, it's then your fault because you're
Yeah.
going with
Well,
it
let's
and
be
you're allowing
honest.
it.
Most people, the reason why this happens to them is because they keep thinking with emotions. That is the problem. We need to learn how to attach and detach. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the problem because when they're thinking about it from an emotional lens, and we're not telling you not to be emotional, but what we are telling you is to be smart with your emotions. Still be emotional, but still look at things logically. Oh, they've been telling me we're going to be going on this trip forever. Nothing's happened. They've never brought it up. They keep promising X, Y, and Z, but they're like a ghost in the wind.
Mm.
And that's why on this podcast, I've always told guys and girls, especially women, be careful of guys that tell you saying, "Oh, I like your energy," or "I feel your energy." No, get that crap out of here. It's either you like me or you don't, because that's how a lot of times people get finessed, because they'll say, "Oh, our energies are so amazing together," and but they're selling you a dream.
Mm.
They are the sleazy car salesman that is telling you that this core does all these things, power windows and air coolant and all this amazing stuff, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna buy it. You buy the car, you realize it has no power windows, you realize the air conditioning is broke, the tire's about to fall off, and he duped you. And that's
Because
what
you're led
happens.
by the emotion again.
Exactly. And that's the emotion again, because, and again, that's why we use logic. It's like when you're buying a car, you do an inspection, you get someone else to inspect it for you. When you're getting to know somebody, you need to do a thorough inspection. You need to figure out what their past relationships were like. You need to figure out where their goals and where they're going. Because I've always said this, if a person doesn't have a plan for you, don't date them.
Mm.
So if they've told you like, "Hey, I like you. We're going to be in Mexico together," or whatever the situation may be, maybe we're going to go whatever. If they don't have a plan for the relationship, like saying, "Look, like when you get here, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk. I want to commit to you. I want you to commit to me. I'd like us to build a long-term plan." Okay, cool. That's how it should be. They're telling you that they have a plan for you. But a lot of times the guys that women are getting involved with, they don't have a plan for them. They're just, oh, the girl's like, "Oh, I really like you. You're really amazing. Your energy is really awesome." But he has no plan
Mm.
but to just take your energy, to
Mm.
take your body, to
And that
take
plan
your
needs
time.
to be, and that plan needs to be executed. It needs to actually
Exactly.
happen.
That plan needs to be executed. But if he's not, then he's just taking your energy. He's just taking your body. He's taking your time, attention, and energy. He likes the idea of the romance with you, but he doesn't want to commit to any of those things.
Mm. And sometimes I think it could be like somebody they wanted somebody for a while, and then when they get their attention, it's like it's no fun anymore. So they
The thrill's
think,
gone.
yeah, thrill's gone. Once that person started speaking with them, it's they build this whole thing in mentally and emotionally and with words to the other person, but they're actually in their head. I don't know. Is it like they just
Well,
that whole spark is for him or for her? It's they're not. It's like they've got what they wanted. All they wanted to know is, can I get this person's attention? Yes, I've done it, and now they don't know what to do with it. So they start talking BS and building this whole thing, and not even
well,
realizing what they're doing.
well, I'm gonna say something. Why would you want somebody that's stalling on committing to you?
Yeah, you don't. You
You
don't.
shouldn't. No, no, it's not that you don't. You shouldn't. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, if somebody is stalling on committing to you, they've sold you this dream, but they're stalling on giving you commitment. Why would you want that person?
Mm. And what's the words going to do as well? What is
Well,
like
no,
unless
they're never going to be able to give you that commitment.
of course, that's what I'm saying. Words are just words, aren't they? You
Mm.
want to be with someone and get with somebody who's actually gonna do what they're saying they're gonna do. When they're building this dream, you're watching it unfold in front of you physically, mentally, and emotionally, not just with words.
Well, like, look, guys, like, again, I want this one to be an interesting one. That's why I won't, if I'm interested in a woman and I see that number one, she still talks about her ex, but she says, oh, I'm not that into him, but she'll still like talk about him. Or there's like a fling that she had was with a guy that she really wanted to get with, but never got to get with, but like she's still like reminiscing about him, like, oh, like I wish he would change, or I wish he would date me, or or whatever. But she tells me the complete, like, she talks about it, but her actions are showing different. She keeps going back to this guy.
Mm,
I leave
mm,
right off the bat because she's saying these things like, oh, he's a bad guy or he's not that great, but yet this is the guy that she's going back and forth with. And I'm like,
mm,
I'm out. Because even if we were to date, your mind is not even going to be present with me. You're going to be thinking about him.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so you got to,
So
it's a lot you've got to listen out for, huh?
you have to listen. That's why I tell people, pay attention. If you're getting to know a female and she's talking about her ex, or a fling that she had that's like, and he comes up, yo, let her go.
Mm-hmm.
Let her go.
She's
Or
not
like,
ready for you.
yeah, she's not for you. Or if, like, like, she'll talk about all these things that you guys are going to do, but there's no like action, or like, let her go run in the streets, let her go on about her business. You don't need to entertain that, because who she's really waiting for is the guy that she was close to getting but could never lock down. He maybe clapped cheeks once or twice, but that's the guy that she wants to hear from. That's the guy's attention she wants. And we say it on this podcast all the time. You are just a placeholder. That video that we shared just 5 minutes ago, that's what you are to that person. You are a placeholder until the person that they really want comes along. Then they will go and commit to that individual. But you are just something to keep them busy until then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always said, don't be somebody's placeholder. That's why I tell guys not to stay in the friend zone. That's why I tell girls not to stay in the friend zone, because at the end of the day, you are just a placeholder until the person that they really want to commit to is available for them. Because I guarantee if that person that they want is available, they are leaving you in a split second, because
Absolutely.
they never committed to you. But as soon as they find out that that other person is available, oh, look, I'm sorry, I gotta go. We can't do our thing anymore, or I'm not that interested, or
Or they just
I'm
go
sorry I
through, they'll
hurt
just be
you.
gone.
Yeah, I'm sorry I hurt you, or they're just gone. And then you
Yeah.
next thing you know, they're in a relationship with the person they always wanted to be with.
Yep. And I just heard a similar story to that the other day. There's somebody who I met, and he'd split up with his girlfriend 3 years ago, but is still hanging on to that and hoping that she comes back, and hoping, and so he's stopping himself getting into a relationship just in case she comes back. And I
Mm-mm.
said it's never going to work, even if she come back. Because he said I don't want to get with somebody, because what if she comes back, then I would have to leave this girl to go back with my ex. Like, why would you do that? So
No,
because
she's gone to the streets.
yeah, so
Let
it's
her
like
go.
she's been 3 years. Let it go and
See,
stop.
he's wise, but then he's also silly at the same time, because if a new girl comes into his life, he's too busy thinking about the ex. So he is
Yeah,
preventing himself from finding love. But
yep.
at the same time, she is not out here thinking about him. She's
Nope.
out here maybe dating multiple guys, got a new
Hmm.
boyfriend.
Hmm.
She's getting piped down by someone else.
She's doing
It's
her
not
60
you.
interested. Yep.
It's not you. So again, this is where he has to have like the logic and say, she's gone.
Yeah.
Let her go.
Yeah. And not hold on to any words that's being said by her as
No,
well.
because what somebody said then is not what they mean now. They can be
No,
singing a
exactly.
completely different tune. This is why I told somebody this morning, you can't rely on emotions because they change so frequently. How you felt yesterday, you might not feel today.
and it's a moment. It's in each moment. Emotions. It's not
It
even day
is.
to
It's in a
day.
moment.
It's
So
in a moment.
when she was with that guy, she said some things that rang true. Now that they're broken up, those things ain't true no more because clearly she left and she moved on.
Yeah, exactly. So holding on to someone like that, or holding on to any words, it's just going to stop yourself from growth and from meeting the right person, which
Yeah,
is
because
not always a
the
great thing.
new person that you date is not gonna want to hear about an ex that you're still holding on to. They're gonna be like, "Yo, I'm out. Like, I'm
Mm,
not dealing with this." That's why I
mm.
said big red flag. That's a no no.
Indeed, indeed it is. So yeah, really, just listen out for people. Listen to what they're saying. Watch their
Take it
actions.
for what it is.
Yeah,
Take it for what
what it
it
is.
is.
Don't try and sugarcoat things or make up
No.
excuses for their excuses. Somebody's not in contact with you. Somebody's not doing what they said they're going to do. If they're painting a picture, listen to the picture they're painting and actually see if it becomes reality. Because if it's not becoming reality and they're holding back and giving excuses, they're excuses because they're not willing to do it. It's a fantasy in someone's mind that they're trying to drag you into. And once you're in it, it won't last forever. Well,
Well,
you can I just say
oh, go
there's
ahead.
people that meet online and they talk to people for 8 to 10 years. I've seen like these oh goodness, trying to think what it's called now. Catfished, where they're being
Oh yeah,
catfished.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
speak to someone for like 10 years sometimes and they haven't met them, but they've had all this. Imagine how much can be said in 10 years. All this exchange of like, we're going to do this when we get together, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And then when that person tries to FaceTime, then, oh, my camera doesn't work or this doesn't work.
Mhm.
It's like, take notice of what's being said. If somebody's telling you they're going to meet up with you next week and they don't meet up with you, then why do you even, why trust and believe again? They're not going to stick to their word.
Well, let's
Like,
touch on the point that the guy said. People like the idea of somebody being in love with them, but
yeah,
they don't
and
want to
that's all
commit to them.
it is.
They
So
just
don't,
like the idea that this person loves me.
yeah, and that's about, and that is the ego of like
That's as
being
far
able,
as it goes.
yeah, it's an ego thing, and don't be trapped
So,
into that. Just
yeah,
literally
exactly. So,
watch.
whenever they're having a bad day or the person that they truly want doesn't want them, they call you.
Mm,
They call you to because they know that you want them. They know
yeah,
that you need them. You have become a placeholder option, and we've said it before on the podcast, and I can say it openly. You are their emergency backup plan.
mm,
That's what you are to someone. Oh, you know what? Life's boring right now. I don't have too much going on. The person that I want doesn't want me. Let me pull the emergency string.
mm,
And you put yourself in that position. There's nobody to blame. Yes, they sold you the dream, but you were the one that bought it.
mm-hmm, absolutely.
That's the thing. You are the one that bought it. Nobody forced you to buy it.
No, that's right. That's right.
And it's
So just,
happened to me, guys. I believed sometimes some women what they said, and then their actions so complete. And I'm like, oh, let me just give them a chance. They said they love me. They don't care.
no, no.
They just like the idea of you being around, but they don't want to commit
Mm,
because as soon as you have to commit to someone, and I want to leave you with this. As soon as you have to commit to someone, now there's requirements. And they don't want to do the requirements.
mm-hmm,
That's what we all know because once you get into a relationship, relationships take work. There's requirements, there's dinner dates, there's building together. There's all of these things that you have to do to keep a relationship and they don't want to do that.
mm-mm. They just want the talk to
They
keep their
want the
ego.
before part. They
Mm,
want the romance. They want all the other things. But as soon as they know in their mind, if I get into a relationship with this individual, I'm gonna have to meet my end of requirements. And that's when they're like, no.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, guys, end with the fact that just watch people's words and actions, if they're not aligning, they're not tallying up, then question it. Don't let it just be. Don't stop making up excuses for people, because you know yourself. If you want something, you want someone, you're going
You'll
to
make it
put the
work.
time and effort into it. So
And
it's
don't be a placeholder. Do not
no,
be
no,
a placeholder for somebody, because and the reason why I actually want to end this podcast and why I'm saying don't be a placeholder for somebody, it's because you were never their first choice.
yeah,
You were their second, third choice.
yeah,
And think about it. When you date them, do you want to have the feeling of knowing that you weren't their number one option, that you weren't their first choice, that
nah,
they kind of, let's say, for example, the person they want doesn't want them, or let's say they're interested in two people and both those people don't want them. You were like the fallback. You were like, oh, okay, I can just go to them. And don't settle for that. Like, don't settle to
mm,
be someone's option. It's
mm,
either you're the choice or not.
mm. Not a choice.
Yeah, not a choice. You're either the choice. Like, they're like you're it, but you're not ever going to be someone's second, third placeholder option when they really want, like, the person they really want doesn't want them. You're just there to take up space. You're going on dinner dates with them. You're hanging out. You're traveling maybe towards them, whatever. But they're not committing to you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's
I
put
wanted to
yourself
leave
through
you
it.
guys. Exactly. Don't do it. So I want to leave you guys at that. Please like, share, subscribe, guys. It would mean a lot to us. Comment on the video, even, because we do read the comments diligently. And we have another video coming up this week. Is, can you really fall out of love with somebody? We're not going to ruin any of the spoilers. We'll, just kind of let all this simmer for you guys, and we will see you on Wednesday.
See you then, guys. Take care. Hope you enjoyed.